We're tackling Rich Dad, Poor Dad today.
A classic.
It really is. Our listeners chose this one, and we're here to unearth all those gems Kiyosaki packed in about building wealth and getting financially smarter.
Awesome.
Ready to roll?
Absolutely. Let's do it.
Okay. So Rich Dad, Poor Dad is super interesting because it's not just some boring financial textbook. Kiyosaki uses his own life, his own experiences, to really challenge how we think about money.
Yeah, it's like a total mindset shift. He doesn't just tell you what to do. He shows you how his thinking evolved.
Right. And he had those two dads, right? His own dad, who he called Poor Dad.
Right.
Even though his dad had a great education, he always struggled with money.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was his friend Mike's dad, the rich dad.
The entrepreneur, self-made.
Exactly. Talk about a contrast in perspectives.
It's almost like having two mentors with completely opposite views,
Yeah.
And Kiyosaki learned about money, like the real world of money, from both of them.
So his own father was all about that traditional path.
Get good grades, go to college, get a secure job. That was his mantra.
Yep, it sounds familiar.
But Rich Dad, he emphasized something totally different. Financial independence and building assets that generate income, not just working for a paycheck.
Okay, yeah, I see where this is going. I mean, most of us were practically raised to chase job security, right?
Right. But Kiyosaki says that's the wrong goal entirely.
That's pretty radical.
It is. And it leads us right to one of the biggest ideas in the book, the difference between assets and liabilities. And Kiyosaki, he keeps it super simple. Assets put money in your pocket, liabilities take money out.
Makes sense. But I feel like a lot of people get confused about this.
Oh, they absolutely do.
Especially, it seems like, the middle class.
It's easy to get tripped up. Like, we're told buying a house is an investment.
Yeah, the American dream, right?
Exactly. Kiyosaki would say, hold on a second. He actually uses visuals in the book to show this.
Oh, interesting.
Imagine like a diagram, right? Money flowing into your pocket from assets and out of your pocket for liabilities. Ah, okay. It argues that a house is only an asset if it's making you money, like a rental property.
Yeah.
If you're paying a mortgage, taxes, upkeep, all that, it's actually a liability draining your resources.
That's such a powerful way to look at it.
Right.
It really is. Okay, so how do we start building up that asset column? Like Rich Dad was all about. Did he just, give his kid a real estate empire or something?
No, not quite. This is where those stories from his childhood come in. He talks about his very first business venture with Mike when they were just 9 years old.
9 years old? Wow. What were they doing?
They actually started this counterfeit toothpaste operation.
Counterfeit toothpaste. That's hilarious.
It is. They were melting down existing toothpaste and repackaging it. Of course, it got shut down pretty quickly.
Oh, I bet.
But that's not the point of the story, right?
What is it then?
It's about Kiyosaki's belief that we need to cultivate an entrepreneurial mindset from a young age. It's about spotting those opportunities, taking initiative, learning through experience, and not being afraid to, fail sometimes.
I like that. Start early.
Exactly. Build those skills. The actual product, it doesn't even really matter at that point.
Yeah, that makes sense. So then there's that story about the 10 cents an hour job Rich Dad gave them.
Oh, yeah.
I remember reading that and thinking, what? 10 cents an hour?
Yeah, it seemed crazy, but it was a deliberate lesson. Kiyosaki, he was frustrated at first, but Rich Dad was showing them the reality of the rat race.
The rat race.
Yeah, that cycle of working for money, paying bills, and never getting ahead. It forced Kiyosaki to understand that money should be working for you, not the other way around. You're not supposed to be a slave to it.
That's a really good point.
Right.
Okay, so that leads us to one of the most famous lines in the book. The rich don't work for money. They have their money work for them. But, how do we actually do that?
Well, Kiyosaki makes it clear that just having money, it doesn't magically solve all your problems. What really matters is financial intelligence. And he uses this kind of sobering example. The richest businessmen of 1923, many of them ended up bankrupt or worse.
Really?
Yeah, it just goes to show that money without financial smarts, it can disappear.
It's not enough on its own.
Exactly. So what are the key ingredients to this financial intelligence? Does he give us a recipe?
Yeah, does he?
He kind of does. He breaks it down into 4 parts. Financial literacy, investing, understanding markets, and the law.
Whoa, okay, there's a lot there.
There is. Financial literacy is all about understanding how money actually works. numbers and stuff.
Got it.
Investing is about making your money work for you, not just sitting there.
Okay.
Understanding markets, that's like supply and demand, the stuff that drives prices and creates opportunities.
Right.
And the law, well, that's about navigating all the legal stuff and taxes to your advantage.
Okay, so it's a pretty comprehensive view.
Yeah.
Not just picking stocks or buying real estate.
Exactly. It's about a deeper understanding of the whole financial system.
He's basically saying we all need to keep learning, even if we didn't study finance in school.
Oh. He's a huge advocate for continuous learning. But he wouldn't want you to just sit around and study forever.
No.
No, he's all about taking action, even if you don't feel totally ready. He tells a story about a friend who wanted to invest in apartment buildings.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but she never made any offers because she didn't know the right price.
Oh, I totally get that. It's like that fear of making a mistake.
It can be paralyzing. And Kiyosaki, he spends a good amount of time talking about overcoming fear when it comes to money and laziness.
Both big obstacles.
He's got another story about a friend, Richard, who was so scared to invest that he missed out on a huge opportunity.
Oh, no.
The takeaway is that fear can keep us stuck in the rat race, even when amazing opportunities are right there.
It's like he's challenging us to really look at our beliefs about money and see if they're holding us back.
Exactly. That's what makes this book so powerful. It's not just about dollars and cents. It's about our whole relationship with money.
That's a really good point. Okay, so we've got those contrasting mindsets.
Mm-hmm.
Poor dad versus rich dad. We've got assets versus liabilities, and we need to get over our fear and laziness. What else is crucial for escaping that rat race?
Well, Kiyosaki talks a lot about minding your own business, but he doesn't just mean starting a company.
Oh, okay. What does he mean then?
He means building up your asset column, whether it's real estate, stocks, businesses, anything that produces income.
So even while we're working a job, we should be focusing on that.
Exactly. He's very clear about separating your profession, what you do for a living, from your business, which is all about building financial independence.
I like that distinction.
And he even touches on how wealthy people use corporations and the tax system to protect their assets and income. Legally, of course.
See, that's the kind of stuff they don't teach you in school.
Right. It makes you realize there's a whole other financial education out there that we're missing.
That's a big point he makes, isn't it? Traditional education often prepares us to work for money, but not to manage it or invest it.
Exactly. He's really advocating for us to become entrepreneurs, to build our own businesses, not just work for someone else's.
He even tells a story about a woman who wanted to be a best-selling author, but didn't want to learn about sales.
Oh, yeah, I remember that one.
Which is kind of ironic, right?
It is. But it illustrates his point perfectly. Even in creative fields, you need some business smarts to succeed. He really encourages readers to find mentors, take classes, read books, anything to keep learning.
Never stop learning, never stop growing. Especially when it comes to finances.
Exactly.
Wow, there's so much here and we haven't even scratched the surface.
You know, right? There's this one idea that really stuck with me. It's how Kiyosaki emphasizes choosing our thoughts.
Choosing our thoughts.
Yeah, like being aware of how our thinking can actually affect our finances. He says that fear and desire can really trap us if we aren't careful.
I think I remember that. He uses that analogy with the donkey, right?
Yes, the donkey chasing the carrot.
Always striving, but never actually reaching it.
Exactly. And it's brilliant how he connects that to our relationship with money, you know?
Okay, yeah.
We chase money thinking it'll solve all our problems, make us happy, give us security.
Yeah, I guess we do.
But just like that carrot, it can keep us working and working without really finding fulfillment.
So what are we supposed to do? Give up on our financial goals?
Not at all. He's not saying that. What Kiyosaki urges us to do is become aware of our thoughts. You know, make conscious choices.
Okay.
Instead of just reacting out of fear, we need to stop and think rationally.
So like when someone hates their job?
Exactly. They keep going back because they're terrified of not paying their bills.
Been there.
Right. But Kiyosaki, he'd ask, is working harder at a job I hate really the best solution?
Good question.
It's about taking control, you know, not letting fear run the show.
Right, yeah, making choices that actually align with, like, your goals and values.
That's it. And that brings us back to building that asset column, remember?
Yeah.
When you have assets that are generating income, you've got options. You're not stuck. You have the freedom to make those choices.
That makes sense.
And Kiyosaki, he really hammers home the point that financial education is key to making those smart choices.
Okay.
He talks about those 4 components of financial intelligence, but then he actually gets into specific strategies too.
Oh, interesting.
He shares a lot of stories about his own investments in real estate, highlighting how important it is to find those opportunities that other people miss.
Like that story about buying the rundown house with the extra empty lots, right?
Yes. He saw the potential there, even though it looked like a disaster to everyone else.
He was thinking ahead.
Exactly. And that's what he wants us to do, develop that financial intelligence so we can spot those hidden opportunities. Sometimes it means thinking outside the box a little.
Definitely.
And he also talks about raising money, even if you don't have a ton of cash to start with.
Yeah, he bought that apartment building without having all the money up front, right?
That's the one. $1.2 million, and he didn't have it in the bank.
Wow.
It shows that there are creative ways to finance deals. Not having money right now shouldn't stop you.
That's encouraging.
Right. And he really challenges that idea of playing it safe with investments, like always being super cautious. He thinks that can actually limit your returns.
Makes sense.
He compares it to his approach, which is more about calculated risk-taking. You have to be okay with some losses along the way.
Doesn't that sound kind of scary, though?
Well, he uses this analogy about playing tennis.
Okay.
You're always going for the win, even if it means missing a few shots.
Well, I get it.
You play hard, make mistakes, learn from them, and get better over time. Even if you lose, you shake hands, analyze what happened, and come back stronger next time.
It's like that growth mindset, but for investing.
Exactly. You can't be afraid to fail because failure is part of learning.
He even says Texans don't bury their failures, they get inspired by them or something like that, right?
He does. It's about turning those setbacks into fuel, You need resilience.
For sure.
And he talks about the fear of losing money, which is totally normal.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
But he says we shouldn't let that fear stop us from doing anything.
So what should we do instead?
Learn to manage risk. Use tools like stop orders in the stock market.
Okay.
It's about being strategic, not letting emotions drive every decision.
Being more calculated.
Right. And it's about focusing on what you do want, not just what you don't want.
What do you mean?
He talks about people who say, I don't want to fix toilets, so they avoid real estate altogether.
Ah, I see.
They're letting a small inconvenience stop them from potentially making a lot of money.
That's a good point.
Kiyosaki wants us to think bigger than that.
Yeah.
Break free from limitations.
So push past our comfort zones.
Exactly. And along with overcoming fear, he talks about overcoming laziness too.
Oh, yeah. He has some strong opinions about that.
He does. He actually says that busy people are often the laziest.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
That doesn't sound right.
It seems counterintuitive, I know.
Yeah.
But his point is that a lot of people are busy doing things that don't actually get them closer to their goals.
Okay, I'm listening.
They're busy working for someone else, paying bills, just staying stuck in that rat race.
Oh, I see.
It's about being intentional with your time and energy,
Right.
focusing on the things that actually build your asset column, the things that move you towards financial freedom.
So it's more about, like, working smarter, not just harder.
That's it. And that leads into another important principle, paying yourself first.
Oh, yeah. I love that idea. It really changed how I think about money.
It's powerful stuff.
Right.
He's not saying to ignore your bills or anything, but he says you need to prioritize your financial well-being. Set aside money for your asset column before you pay anything else.
Put yourself first.
Exactly. He argues it forces you to get creative and find other income sources, and it builds financial discipline.
Makes sense.
It's a totally different way to approach money management, right?
Right.
It's being proactive, not reactive.
It is, yeah. Okay, so pay yourself first.
Right. And another thing he emphasizes is overcoming arrogance.
Arrogance?
Yeah, he points out that what we don't know can actually cost us money. He's a big believer in constantly learning and seeking out advice from experts.
So like attending seminars, listening to audiobooks, all that.
Yes, and even learning from people he disagrees with.
Really?
He sees it as a chance to get a fresh perspective.
I like that. Always be open to learning.
Exactly. There's always more to learn, no matter where it comes from.
Right.
And of course, he stresses the importance of taking action. He says knowledge without action is pointless.
Yeah, you got to put it into practice.
He's all about learning by doing, making those mistakes, and getting better. He'd probably say that thinking too much and not doing anything is the worst thing you can do.
Analysis paralysis.
That's it. And I really like his advice about finding heroes who make investing look easy.
Oh, yeah, he talks about that.
He says it inspires us, right? It helps us believe that we can do it too.
So who are his heroes?
Well, he's inspired by people like Donald Trump and Warren Buffett,
Big names.
and he studies their strategies, to learn from their success.
So it's like having mentors in the financial world.
Exactly. And he encourages us to teach what we learn, too.
Oh, that's a good one.
It helps reinforce our own understanding, and it helps other people along the way.
It's a win-win.
Right. And he talks about the power of giving, both financially and with knowledge.
Giving back.
He believes that when you give, it always comes back around.
Karma.
Kind of. It's about creating abundance and generosity.
That's a nice way to think about it.
And it connects back to the idea that financial intelligence isn't just about getting rich yourself. It's about using your resources to make a positive impact.
That's a great message.
There's just so much to unpack here.
I know, right? We've covered a lot, but there's still more to explore in Rich Dad, Poor Dad. All right, welcome back for the final part of our deep dive into Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
We've covered a lot of ground.
We have, haven't we? Contrasting mindsets, financial intelligence, overcoming fear and laziness.
Lot to digest.
There really is.
Yeah.
But there's still more to uncover.
Oh, absolutely. As we wrap up, the thing that keeps coming back to me is this idea that so many people struggle financially because they spend their lives working for someone else's dream. It's like...
Stuck on a hamster wheel.
Yes, exactly. Running and running, but never getting anywhere.
And Kiyosaki's whole book is about breaking free from that, right?
It is. He wants us to shift our focus, from working for money to having our money work for us.
And he doesn't just throw out vague ideas. He actually gives you practical steps to make it happen.
He does. He's all about starting small, gradually building that asset column over time, even if you don't have a lot to start with.
He stresses that you don't need a big inheritance or a winning lottery ticket.
Nope. You just need to develop your financial intelligence, spot those opportunities, and keep taking action. Even small actions add up.
I like that. He also talks about being a good steward of your assets, not just accumulating them.
Right. It's not enough to just have money. You have to manage it wisely. He points out that lots of wealthy families lose their fortunes because they haven't learned how to handle money effectively.
It's like that saying, shirt sleeves to shirt sleeves in 3 generations.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And Kiyosaki wants to break that cycle. He believes in teaching kids about money from a young age, giving them the tools they need to build a secure future. Like playing that cash flow game with his son's friend.
Oh, yeah?
He's making learning about money fun and engaging, not just lectures and formulas.
Hands-on experience.
Exactly. And of course, he's a huge advocate for mentorship, finding people who've already achieved what you want and learning from them.
Like give them out to lunch, attending seminars, reading their book.
All of it. He says, be proactive, seek out the knowledge you need. He even talks about making lots of offers when you're looking for investments, even if you don't know the right price.
That's interesting.
Right. It's about taking action and being willing to negotiate. He challenges us to think outside the box, break free from that scarcity mindset.
He really does provide a roadmap for building wealth, doesn't he?
He does. He gives you the tools, the mindset, the motivation.
And reminds us that it's a journey. There will be ups and downs. But the key is to keep moving forward.
Exactly. Never stop learning, never stop growing.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into Rich Dad, Poor Dad, what's the one message our listeners should take away?
I think the most important message is this. Financial freedom is possible for anyone. It starts with developing your financial intelligence, overcoming your fears, and taking action to build your assets.
Even small steps can lead to big results.
They can. And don't forget to find those financial heroes, the people who inspire you to believe that you can achieve your goals too. Like Kiyosaki says, sometimes you need someone to show you that it's possible.
That's a great point. It's time to stop chasing that carrot and start building your own path to financial freedom. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into Rich Dad, Poor Dad. We hope you found it helpful.
It's been fun.
And remember, the journey to financial freedom starts today.